With the majority of kinky connections being initiated in some capacity online, it's crucial to know proper DM etiquette as you evaluate a new potential play partner. So stay tuned today because I'm contrasting last week's video with 15 of the biggest green flags to look out for in kinky DMs as you're talking to a potential new dominant. If you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. I'm Miss LX and I'm so glad you're here. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you won't miss anything new. And if you find this content helpful, you can support the work that goes into this channel over at my Patreon, patreon.com/lxerotica. So again, today's content is part 2 of my current series all about how to keep yourself safe and informed when talking to new kinky peeps online. So if you missed last week's video, I've linked it in this video's description so you can check it out. But today, our first green flag that you'll find when chatting with a potential new dominant online is they will introduce their character before jumping into their kinks. Now, a dominant who leads with their character versus their kinks is a dominant who understands the importance of building safety and rapport and seeks to earn devotion. Furthermore, a dominant who is open enough to allow you to see their integrity and nobility will be a dominant secure enough to connect with you and empathic enough to understand you. Secondly, a healthy dominant will not demand the instant use of honorifics, but will take the time to build devotion that organically births submission. They won't view a potential new submissive through the lens of ownership before thorough negotiation and agreement has taken place. They don't feel entitled to submission. They understand that honorifics should be attached to honor. Furthermore, an honorable dominant will use affectionate terms or pet names only after receiving consent. Ideally, an honorable dominant will earn a submissive's trust and formally establish a dynamic before attempting to take ownership through such terms of endearment, which can often be triggering to submissives if used out of a trusted dynamic or without consent. In fact, a secure dominant who truly knows their power will go out of their way to respect a potential new submissive in communication. They're not insecure and thus do not view the extension of respect as a loss of their authority. Instead, they will view this level of respect as a way to build trust and earn devotion. Another way secure and safe dominants will build trust and earn devotion is by maintaining a certain degree of propriety in initial conversation. In other words, they won't instantly sexualize the conversation with dick pics and porn. That's the move of a desperate, entitled incel. But secure and safe dominants have much more to bring to the table than their sexuality, and they will be confident in that. If the conversations are going well, it's not uncommon for dom and sub to exchange photos, videos, etc. as means of online play and further discovery as they evaluate whether or not a formal dynamic is right for them. Now, if and when this point occurs, a proper dominant will respectfully state their interest for, but will patiently wait for the submissive to offer such things, erotic photos, nudes, etc. There won't be this feeling of obligation or pressure, and you as a subtype will be able to maintain your sense of autonomy and provide such things only when you feel comfortable and you have enthusiastic consent. A healthy dominant will also use a similar strategy when it comes to initially sexting, playing, or sex, stating their interest for such acts, but waiting for the submissive to build enough trust to engage in such acts for the first time. Again, there will not be this sense of pressure or obligation, this push. The submissive will be free to take the time to feel comfortable and excited before agreeing to a first meeting or initial scene. Another way proper dominance reinforces subtype sense of autonomy and reassures them of consent is by taking the time to earn obedience through mindful conversation and devotion. They will be curious and ask questions. They will want to know your limits, cravings, and curiosities. They will want to know your experiences, good and bad, and everything in between. They will dig up your interests and love languages and explore what drives your submission and incentivizes your service. And it is in this process that devotion is fostered and obedience becomes a natural response. And a big green flag in this devotion building process is the dominant initiating conversations about collaring and ownership only after trust and mutual interest has been established. In other words, the dominant will not project desire or assume ownership. Rapport, safety, and trust will be established. Thorough negotiation will take place. Agreement will be reached. And at that point, discussions about collaring and ownership often naturally arise, but they will not be prematurely coaxed or coerced with an honorable dominant. In fact, a healthy and safe dominant will absolutely insist upon thorough negotiation and will honor the submissive's desires. They will not approach negotiation with entitlement, coercion, or manipulative techniques. They will not insist on their own way. They will be open enough to view a negotiation as two people who deserve respect, striving to reach an agreement that pleases them both. A healthy and safe dominant will be open to compromise, not their way or the highway. And due to this demand for mutual agreement and authentic consent, a proper dominant will be open to and encourage input and feedback from their potential submissive about how to structure their dynamic. Now, showing this level of respect for a sub during the negotiation phase is really a wonderful green flag that reveals the degree of humility and integrity of the dominant, which will enable them to be present and empathic with their submissive and make necessary adjustments without becoming defensive or negatively aggressive. Additionally, a secure dominant will honor the submissive's limits and will not attempt to circumvent or manipulate the submissive's boundaries. As we discussed last week, pseudodoms will often do so by gaslighting a subtype and subsequently manipulating them into believing that they are closed-minded, that they lack trust, or they're not a true submissive or a good submissive if they have limits and if they have expressed their boundaries. A secure dominant knows their power and does not view boundaries as a threat to their authority. They are perfectly capable of taking territory while simultaneously staying within the fence line of the boundaries provided by their submissive. And this level of confidence in their authority extends to the fact that a safe and trustworthy dominant will demand the use of slow words, safe words, and stop signs. They will demand it, okay? Unlike pseudodoms who seek the feeling of power through control and will try to shame or manipulate a submissive from using such tools, a safe dominant is so secure in their power, they don't need to take power from another to walk in authority. They do not need to take power from another to walk in authority. Therefore, a proper dominant will desire the freedom to lead that comes from fully knowing a submissive's limits and the assurance that the submissive can communicate their boundaries as needed. And part of the power a dominant feels in fully knowing their submissive's limits is built in the initial conversations as they take time to ask questions about the submissive and carefully catalog the data for future use in the dynamic. A worthwhile dominant will be present with you and will take every opportunity they can to learn more about you as a person and submissive. They will be curious. They will ask questions. They will make notes of the important information. They will respectfully push for information. And they will mindfully keep track of these things to use strategically throughout your dynamic. And our final green flag is in the dominant's consistent, diligent communication as they honor their commitments. In other words, they won't ghost you. There won't be long spells of distance. And if temporary distance is necessary, they will make sure that you know what's going on. They will prioritize time to talk to you and will show up when they said they would. Furthermore, their words and their actions will be congruent. They will be in alignment. They're not full of abundant promises, but scarce actions. So those are our 15 green flags from dominant DMs, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. So drop a comment below and let me know. And be sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on, because next week I'm revealing 15 more red flags that you need to look out for next time you're chatting with a potential new submissive.